sub. This is from Gino Lagamba. Pat, do you have a full N64 collection as well? No, I don't. I think I own about what is it in the library? 250, about 260. I probably own about 125, 130. So that's one of those libraries that it's just so boring to go for. It's not challenging to go for. There's only 3 or 4 games that are tough to find, and I have the hardest one. I have Sculptor's Cut.
Yeah, Worms, Sculptor's Cut, Ogre Battle.
I have Ogre Battle. It's not even that hard to
I
find.
think we have Worms at the store right now.
Do you really? How much is it?
50?
I have credit. If it's only 50, I'll use my credit.
50? I think it's 50. 50, 60? I don't know.
50?
Somewhere
50, it's
there.
sold. Anyway. But no, it's one of those things where it's not worth it. It really isn't. This is from at Shinoda CM. Canadian flea markets and pawn shops know the value of games and overprice them. Same on Craigslist. Any tips for good deals? Got the swap meets. You have flea markets. Sometimes in Craigslist, not so much anymore. I'd say, wow, I haven't got a Craigslist deal in probably 2 years. The more I think about it. There was a good point when I moved here that I was getting one almost every month. I got a lot of my Sega Master System games from Craigslist deals, especially in New Jersey. But yeah, go on forums. There are nice people out there that'll trade you stuff. Go to some of these conventions. Sometimes you go to MagFest. You go to Portland Retro Gaming Expo. There's some good deals to be had out there.
I would point out,
Or does he mean directly dealing with them? That's tough.
I would emphasize the forum part. If you get in good with a forum, and a lot of forum dwellers can be kind of hard to deal with, but if you get in good with a forum, that's where you're going to find your best stuff. I've gotten incredible deals on a lot of my PC Engine stuff through friends on forums.
There you go. This is from at Jace Nakarado. Did I say that right? Nakarado. Pat, could you detail some Game & Watches you own and some positives about having them? Ian, just keep on drinking Tecate.
That's easy enough.
I have about 5 or 6. I have the Fishbowl one. I have the Cement Factory. I have the first Donkey Kong one.
Yeah, Snoopy.
I have the Snoopy tabletop and the Mario Cement Factory one. And I have a couple others. Some positives. They're cool. I love LCDs. I grew up with the Tiger LCDs. I was always jealous of my friends who had the. I remember Kevin and his dumb older brother Quinn used to boss me around and bully me. They never let me play it. They wouldn't let me play it. They'd be like, "No, you can't play it." And it's like, "Why not let me play freaking the Donkey Kong? Was it Donkey Kong 2 with the key? Or you're a junior?"
That darn Quinn.
Idiot.
I would say the positive, of Game & Watches, they're expensive, but they're, unlike a lot of the licensed Tiger LCDs, they were kind of like the cream of the crop in terms of they were just fun. Game & Watches are actually fun to play. Almost all of them are well designed. Even the simple ones are at least amusing to play.
Well, they're more designed around movement versus the Tigers are more designed around your character moving, which is harder to pull off.
Sure.
With an LCD, like Double Dragon and my Ninja Gaiden, which I still need the Ninja. Yeah, I don't have Ninja Gaiden still. That's one I had as a kid. And I still need the Talking Baseball All-Star one. But anyway, yeah, you always move and hit like scroll to move, and so that's only so much you can do with that versus jumping around different places.
Right.
This is from at Sagata Senshiro 1. Why do people never mention the Neo Geo amongst the best consoles ever made? AES is the Bentley of consoles.
The reason why the AES is never mentioned among the best consoles is because SNK's games are fantastic. That system was prohibitively expensive.
I'll tell you why. To me, it's not a console. To me, it's an arcade system.
Well, it is. It is, but that's why it's so out of. It was out of the reach of people who when it was relevant, and it's out of reach of collectors now unless you have a ton of money. And MVS is far more affordable. You can buy the actual arcade machine, and the arcade cartridges are so much cheaper. It's not a beef with SNK. I love SNK. Pat will tell you I'm an SNK fanboy, but I have no interest in owning it because it's too expensive.
I don't have. That's when I always say I have every system from like 2000 going back. I don't have the AES. I never had the the desire to own one, even when they were cheaper for some reason. It's just weird. I just never did.
And to expound on what you said a little bit, it's because no one thinks of it as a console. All it ever got was arcade ports. All it ever got were ports from the arcade. It never had anything.
Can you even call them ports though? They were the arcade.
Well, they are, but that's what I'm saying.
I mean? That's the thing.
You never got. It's not like a Nintendo or a Genesis where you got unique games. It was all just ports. You never saw anything new on it.
That's why. Not saying there's not bad games, but best console ever made.
Right.
Maybe it would be if the arcade didn't exist. If this was just some weird console they made,
right?
With that, it would be holy shit. Look at these games. But yeah,
you put my point better. If the arcade aspect of it didn't exist, if they all stood on their own as console games, it would be
like holy
out
shit.
Of control.
Yeah, because the technology looked like 10 years before its time. This is from at B Waterwall. Ian, how do you suspect online?
Jesus, scared me.
How do you suspect online ordering for La Luna will affect supply and demand? Do you expect prices to go up? I guess it means your store if you go online.
Jeez.
La Luna.
It's just Luna, but that's okay. The Luna. I mean that works. I don't know. We did at one point have an online store, and it was a pain to keep maintained, and the prices weren't any different. With how our business has grown and how retro gaming has grown, I don't think the prices would be different from the store prices. If anything, the prices in the store and online, something would change. I don't think we would actually go higher, and I don't know. I don't really think it would change anything. That's something that I honestly can't answer until we actually do it. We would have to see how internet reacted to our pricing. As a physical store, when people post up prices they see in other places, I always feel more confident in the prices we have at Luna because we are almost always cheaper than what other people are posting online.
Transparency, show me the prices.
Yeah, transparency, right? I know, but whatever. I'm saying, like, when people are like, I can't believe this place has this, and they snap a picture of something going for 50. I'm like, well, that's cool. We have that for 35. But once you turn it into an online market, that becomes more competitive. So I don't know. I mean, if anything, it might temper prices a little bit. Honestly, we would have to see.
Okay. This is a little bit of a general question. We can talk about it quickly. At Puffy Gill 2, what are your opinions on the Wii U, Xbox One, and the PS4?
I can do that pretty quick.
Go.
Wii U, someday. Xbox One, never. PS4, probably next year. Probably.
So, in other words, the Wii U, it's got some problems. There's no real third-party support, unfortunately, but you always have the nice first-party titles on there. And I love the controller. I think it's really nice. I think it'll get a lot more use out of games in the future. Xbox One, their draconian policies have shot them in the foot, so they're not going to win the next generation. I think PS4
even though they turned them around, it
doesn't matter. It's too late. And plus, they can always re-implement them at any time they want to. So for the U sales bullshit, having the Kinect spy on you, and that just really bad. And plus, their CEO was a jackass, saying all that stuff that he left the company. It's almost like he sabotaged himself, So no, the Xbox, forget it. And plus, they're down on indie games for all of a sudden after they were so up on them. PS4, hey, why not? If that's what you want to go for. I was never a big Sony guy, but like I said, the Xbox One and PS4, they're gonna have 95% the same games like usual, and then you're really having 3 or 4 franchises you care about, one or the other. Who cares? Get a PC. Next.
And people call me arrogant.
At Gigantor 1313.
Oh, that's our pal.
It's our pal from the marathon. Very, very generous. Why don't see a bigger library? I guess why don't we see a bigger library of virtual games from a manufacturer's past? Is it licensing issues or a developmental issue?
Virtual console.
Do you want to go first?
I don't think it's a development issue at all. It's very, very easy to do that. I think what people don't necessarily realize is the amount of licenses that are pretty much permanently in limbo from companies going out of business, things like that. Rights changing hands. Why Nintendo doesn't do more with the virtual console, I don't know. And I don't think this is the question you're asking necessarily, but when people come in and they're like, why hasn't Nintendo put X game on the Virtual Console yet? I'll be like, well, because that's not a Nintendo game, and that company went defunct 10 years ago. I mean, I don't know where that right is held.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe they don't know. They don't know how to gauge the interest.
They don't.
It's easy for us that we're in the thick of it. You know, I have all these games. I know, hey, if they came out with this game on the Virtual Console, it would sell. They have no clue to know that. They have no idea.
They would really need to go around to places like Luna and other stores and be like, what's selling? Like, what can we put up?
How do they know if Legacy of the Wizards is going to sell or Legend of the Cake? They have no idea. So they can't waste the time and resources to get the license, to get the rights to put on Virtual Console, to have no one buy it. That's what it comes down to.
I do think we are seeing a slight turn to these companies taking bigger chances again. And all I need to point to is the fact that frickin' Rekka got a 3DS Virtual Console release, and I bought it because I wanted to be like, "Geez, here's the money." Please,
because in Japan they knew it was,
vote with your wallet. If you want to see more more varied and more obscure, weirder Virtual Console stuff, make it. Then I don't know. I hate to say it. Even if you don't necessarily like a game, but you know it's weird and you wonder why it's there, buy it. Throw some money at it. Show that there is an interest in having these lesser known titles put on a Virtual Console or emulated in such a way.
This is from our pal Helen, who's modding in the chat tonight. Will we be seeing any special guests on the podcast, or maybe hadn't thought that far yet? I'm open to it. We can probably associate Skype with this eventually. I was thinking about having an open line for people to quote-unquote call in on topics at some point. We can work that in. I don't have a problem with it. I just think having a third person, I have had pretty good chemistry with this, I think. Maybe that's why, we were chosen by whatever that, I can't think of the name.
Stitcher.
Stitcher. That's our pals at Stitcher. For one of the best new podcasts. I don't remember.
I feel like I'm not opposed to it either. I feel like you and I play off each other fairly well. I feel like we're different enough. What I have no problem with guests on the podcast. I think that'd be fun. If Rue called in and we all harassed each other for a little while, but something like that. But for me right now, I like the podcast how it is simply because I work Wednesdays. It's the middle of my work week. I get off. I come over here. It's easy to set up. There's no nonsense, no BS, and we just shoot the shit.
It's our 5th episode so far.
Yeah, I have a beer. Well. We shoot the shit, and we call it a day. I would love to do guests as long as we could do it in a way that's not horribly complicated. I guess.
Sure. It'd have to be Skype, obviously.
Yeah.
If we can somehow pump them into the board back to the computer, that'd be great. If we can figure that out, I probably could figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. This is from Abe Randall. Individually, what was, I guess, all your favorite moments this past weekend? I guess individually, what was your favorite? If you had to pick the one moment from the NES Marathon.
Oh.
The 12 a.m. live read?
No.
The 6 a.m. live read?
My favorite moment was
me winning at pro wrestling?
No, that was a dark time. I would say probably my favorite moment was as much as I might give Pat nonsense for it, I got to, when you napped, I got to kick back and I played Clu Clu Land for like 10 minutes. Which was one of my favorite NES games. And I played it until I lost.
Was that requested?
Nope. It was, it was kind of requested. We had a $50, or maybe it was a $75 block, and it just said, please play whatever you'd like.
Oh, wow.
And nice. I took that, and I said, I looked at the wall for a minute, and I said, I want to play Clu Clu Land. And that was the closest thing to a relaxing break that, like, it was nice to sit there and just not play a game because someone said it, but, like, I love Clu Clu Land. I love that game. And I played it up to the last level before it loops, and I lost. But,
so, you kind of cheated on me there. You got to play games you wanted to play. I couldn't do that all the time. I had to stay.
You were asleep. You cheated.
I didn't cheat. Who says I'm not allowed to take a power nap?
There's no napping in a marathon. So
Who said that? In the Mario Marathon, they have like 80 people that do it over 3 days.
Longer than 24 hours. All I'm saying is I was playing in order, and I got to play whatever you want. And I said, okay, I'm playing Clu Clu Land.
I liked my power because I was awake and I got back.
What was your favorite moment? Your nap?
It wasn't bad because I woke up very tired. Every year, you people don't understand. I wake up tired Saturday mornings from all the stress of the week before. I'm never fresh for the marathon.
What was your favorite moment?
The dance was pretty damn funny. The
That-
Maniac Mansion dance was pretty damn.
That just happened. I just kind of realized that I was standing up and dancing at some
Was it like 1 a.m. we did that? or
No,
something?
that was like 3 or 4 hours.
I tried woke?
Yeah, it was definitely after.
Oh,
you
that's what woke
up.
me up, I think.
Yeah, you came out and you played some Mega Man and you were crabby, and then you were crabby some more.
Oh, that's
and then we danced and you were fine.
I think my best moment was when I came out to Mega Man 3 and I kicked ass and I figured out the hard man boss and I would have beaten him. Remember, I was down to one thing of health and he had all of it. And I fought my way back and I almost killed him. Then I lost, but I was like, yeah, I got that. If I went back, I would have beat him.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
No, but I got it. Still an awful fucking game and series, but whatever. Okay, next.
Before you go off.
This is from at Geron. Oh, Geron. What do you think is the oddest choice of a movie to get a video game? For me, it's Hudson Hawk #LJN. For some reason, that wasn't
Platoon.
I was gonna say that, but you Platoon.
I mean, just why?
I've commented on that in 2 of my videos about Platoon.
Oh, have you? I just,
Probably
immediately.
Hudson Hawk is very violent too, though. That was an R-rated movie.
Oh yeah.
But Platoon is just. Who gave the go ahead? Did Oliver Stone give the go ahead? Who was responsible for that?
Well, I mean, if
I know it was on the computer. That's probably why.
Yeah,
you know.
But if you want to go with violence, I mean, the fact that Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street got game releases has always been fairly impressive to me as well. I mean, there's more to work with there in terms of how do we make this a game, but the fact that it was released at a time when games were considered kid stuff.
Yeah, especially Nintendo, they were kid stuff.
Yeah, the fact that
and then that came out. Then somehow Hudson Hawk, then Cool World came out.
Oh, Cool World was another weird one.
You know, it's just like, what the hell? Like, seriously, half of the movie licenses were R-rated movies. Untouchables. It's like, that's not... I know they came out with a TV version of it, but it's like, these were not... I'm just looking around. It's like, what were they? Darkman?
Yeah, that's a strange
That's not
one.
a kid's movie, you know? Even the Gremlins movies, borderline, you know? They're not kids' movies when you think about it.
A RoboCop?
RoboCop, yeah, very...
But, I mean, that was an
arcade.
RoboCop, you can say,
Yeah,
okay, it was an arcade game,
game.
but I would say Platoon, in my opinion, is probably the weirdest one.
It's up there. I was going to say...
In terms of
Platoon and
violence
Cool World.
and the lack of real subject matter to make a game out of.
Well, Rollerball's not the movie, but I mean, it was. It was the James Caan version. This is from Chibi UFO. Oh, that sounds familiar.
It is.
This is all it says. You guys are doing it every week. Doing what?
I responded to her. She just did another. Yeah,
In the
yes,
podcast?
we're doing it every other week.
Every other week. I'm proud of Ian for even committing to that. That's very nice. This is from at Demon Owing Garth. Is there any video game you miss playing in the arcade, even though it cost all your quarters to play it?
Not because it cost all my quarters, but because it was one of the only fighting games I was ever really good at in the arcade. And it's been so long now, I can't remember what the actual name of the arcade version is. It was either, what was it, Soul Edge.
Soul Edge, the first before
The
Soul
first
Calibur.
one.
Before
I was very, very good at that in the arcade, and I used to play that constantly. I miss it just because it was, everyone knows, especially people who watch the marathon, I'm pretty horrible at video games. I love them, but I'm awful at them. I am not good. If you want to feel better about yourself, challenge me to a video game. Pretty much any video game. I might beat you at a shooter if we're going score attack, but as proved this past weekend, not always. But yeah, no, Soul Edge was one that I loved, and I do miss that being in the arcades. That was fun.
That's a tough one. It's like, I love playing Final Fight in the arcade. I just love that game so much. I would always, the type of game if I played, I had to beat it in the arcade. It would probably cost a couple of bucks, you know, maybe 7 quarters, 6 quarters. Same with Double Dragon. But then I'm trying to think. There's no game that sort of ate all my quarters, or I had to constantly come back to. There's no like the original arcade games like Centipede or Pac-Man. I usually play once or twice. I'd be fine. I'd be satiated enough because I was decent at them. I wouldn't just die within a second. Centipede I can go for a while. You know, even if I get if I play what the hell's the vector game? I can't think of it right now.
Tempest.
I can go for a while if I'm good. Like I can go for like 10, 12 rounds if I'm really on. So Donkey Kong, the same thing. I can cycle through a few times, whatever. So it's really tough for me to answer, honestly. At Cygnus Destroyer, that's Matt. What are your go-to games to get you in the mood during the Halloween season? I don't know if I have any, but do you have any Halloween-themed games or scary games you play?
It's funny because October is always a really busy month for me, especially the past 4 years. We usually do sales at Luna. There's the marathon. So my only real Halloween ritual is watching The Great Pumpkin as many times as I can. As far as games, no, but if I wanted to play a scary game like right when I got home to kind of get me in the mood for Halloween or something like that, I would probably go with Fatal Frame or Condemned Criminal Origins. Those are good scary games that I like. They're fun to play, and they'd probably fit the season really well.
I probably would say Doom if I.
Oh, and Doom. Yeah, that's an obvious.
That's scary. At RetroCore RCVGM, Chris usually asks a question.
Hello, Chris.
Are there any games that was meek? Are there any games you find yourself replaying yearly or even every couple of months?
Yeah. Actually, I saw this question earlier just because he's on my feed. It's funny because you already mentioned it, but beat 'em ups are games that every couple of months, I will sit down and be like, I want to play all the way through Final Fight, or I want to play all the way through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. 45 minutes, and the way they're set up, I mean, it's like a really bad action movie. There's usually a shitty story arc presented in a beat 'em up. So those I'll play. Killer 7, I play every couple of years. Jet Set Radio Future is probably the game that I've beaten the most besides DuckTales. And I'll play Kirby's Adventure probably start to finish once a year on the NES. I really like that one.
This is from at...
No answer from you?
None. Because I don't have time to replay stuff. At game_mana. Can you recommend any good books related to video games?
I don't have any that I've never read any.
Like Game Over, you mean? Like
well, yeah, I think that's
books?
what he means. I've never read any of those, but I know you've got some on your shelf, so that's probably a question for you.
I have a history of Nintendo one I have to read still. But Game Over is the one that people always go back to. It tells it's a pretty concise history of video games.
And everyone I know, from customers who come in to people like Frank Cifaldi, who are basically video game historians.
You mean my pal Frank?
Yes, your pal Frank. Will recommend Game Over. If that's one that you haven't read, I can probably say honestly, without ever reading it, that it's worth it just by the vast number of people who will vouch for it.
At Ninja Trombonist, that's interesting.
Nice.
What's a TV series or movie that you really wish had a video game adaptation?
Pat, answer a question.
Well, TV series or current or past?
Anything.
How about Bloodsport having a video game?
Yeah, that's what
we got close to best of the best. There was the Kumite mode in it, but
yeah,
that would have been great.
Bloodsport, Commando. I mean, these probably would have been awful.
Commando.
I mean, these probably would have been awful had they ever been made. But I mean, a Bloodsport licensed video game or a Commando licensed video game probably.
Not the Capcom, maybe the movie Commando.
Yeah, I mean the movie
With
Commando.
Arnold.
Those probably would have been at least amusing enough to play. I think we had a question similar to this once before, though, and my answer is really, I wouldn't actively wish for anything to get a video game adaptation because you're usually asking for trouble. But with something as cheesy as Bloodsport or Commando, it could probably be in that it's so bad it's good category.
How about a My Two Dads platformer?
yeah, exactly.
At Mega 5K, Megan's always around. Do you think that homebrew carts are helping or hurting the retro community? I don't see it damaging it. It's always good to, it's another game. It's you're not hurting an existing company or license usually.
Yeah, if you're talking actual homebrew
from scratch.
No, I don't think so. I mean, for instance, take for example one of the giveaways from this past weekend, the Blade Buster cart. That was a homebrew game made by a team of developers who released it for free. And people started putting it on cartridges so you could play it on a physical system on your TV.
There you go. Beautiful.
They didn't ask for any money, and as long as the people who are giving, like, we gave that away and I got it from my buddy made it for me for free, as long as you're not profiting off of someone else's stuff, I don't really see that being an issue. And if you do make the game and you produce your own run of carts and sell it,
yeah,
go for it. You're just keeping that system alive.
You're just scamming though because you can play for free online, Ian.
Yeah, whatever.
I got an answer to the last question. Mask never had a video game, I don't think.
I thought it did.
What system? Like Commodore's? I never heard of it.
I thought it was Super. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, Mask was only on until like 86.
Okay. Yeah, no, sorry. I thought you meant, like,
Not the movie Mask.
Yeah. No, yeah. No,
No, the Rocky Dennis. That's it.
Yeah, no.
Not the cartoon Mask. Mask is the mighty power that will save the day. Okay.
It's awful.
Mask. At capped_chuckles. Have you or Ian, I haven't, played Pokemon XY? If so, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I have. With the sale the week before the marathon and then the marathon and all that, I haven't actually had much time. I only have 2 badges. And I even got to take home my copy a day early because I work at a video game store.
Oh.
That never happened. I mean, I looked at the cover a day early. I just haven't had the time. But yes, I really like what I've seen. Some people are complaining that it's too easy. I really like grinding. I feel like previous Pokemon games really satisfied my itch to grind, but I feel like for a lot of people, they didn't want to do that. So I feel like the fact that you can get a varied party early on, the fact that you get EXP share early on, is probably a boon for a lot of people. I like the way it looks, and I'm having a ton of fun with it, and I look forward to playing it more. I definitely like it better than a lot of previous iterations.
Well, I didn't play XY, but I played the PETA version of Pokemon, which came out last week, and it was actually really funny. Very twisted, but really funny. If you can get past it all. Open up and lock the prize, and you click on the video, you've seen all the animals getting killed in, like the slaughterhouses. That's fine. Anyway.
I called that, too. I looked at my coworker before it came out, and I said, there's going to be a PETA version, and sure enough, there was.
It was better well done than the Mario one from last year. Okay, this is from at pens_mini66. I just bought the Calvin and Hobbes set from your discussion. Oh, thank you. Do you think that Sony will list all of the PS1 library and PSN? I don't know about all of it. They don't have rights to all of it, but the more pop ones, they probably would do like all the Metal Gears, I would think.
This is something I meant to touch on when I believe it was Gigantor was talking. The virtual console type stuff, libraries in Japan, are much huger. If you look at what you can get for the PlayStation 1 to download on your PS3 in Japan, you can basically get everything. Like all the Square Enix stuff is there. We got like half of it over here. So I don't know if it's because of licensing rights or how things are done differently, but that's already been in Japan. The PlayStation 1 library, for instance, is massive on the PS3. Hopefully they will realize that there's a demand for that over here and do that. The work's already been done.
So they can just they don't realize that there's any sort of clamoring for. I don't know.
They need to flip a switch, basically.
Sure. At WB Stillwell, this could go on forever, but maybe he'll refuse to answer. But this could be a whole topic. Ian, do you have any stories of awful and/or dumb customers?
Jesus, I do, but
There's a quick one you can say. It's like a minute long. No.
There was a woman once who threatened to kill me because she said that the copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that we sold her broke her Nintendo. That's like the tip of the iceberg, man. I can't even get started on that. You want to know more about stories of customers? Visit San Diego, come into the store, tell me you listen to the podcast, and ask me for stories. And I will tell you stories until you can't stand being around me anymore.
At Link2, TOO, is the completely unnecessary podcast sponsored by Takade? No, but we should really ask them. Why not? We should.
So here's the thing about Takade. I feel like I should get this out there since it's been brought up. It's not really my beer of choice.
It's cheap, right?
It's what I usually drink is fairly expensive and fairly high in alcohol content, like 7 to 9%.
79%.
7 to 9%. And I'm not gonna crack something like that during a podcast. I just want something. I mostly use Tecate for making micheladas, which is mixed like Mexican beer with like tomato juice and stuff. And I discovered that it's not awful on its own for a cheap beer. It's totally decent.
It's like Miller Lite.
That is my endorsement of Tecate.
Miller Lite.
Totally decent Mexican for a couple bucks. Yeah.
That's what is that? How many ounces is that? Is that a 40 officially?
This is not a 40. This is 24 ounces.
Okay.
And I got 3 of them at a hiked up rate for $7. This should really be a 3-pack of these should really be about $5.50.
Was it a reseller? Is that why it was
close to work?
Oh.
Convenience store.
Just buy go to Costco, buy in bulk. At Ray_Volaire, how do you feel about games being more casual than their retro counterparts? Example, Daggerfall to Skyrim. I have no idea about that series.
I do. I'm not sure. I don't.
Is Skyrim casual?
That's my. I don't necessarily agree with the comparison he's making. Daggerfall is huge, and Daggerfall was pretty intense for its time, but there's a lot of things about Daggerfall that I'm glad we did away with. I mean, we don't need a world that big full of towns that have 2 huts and no quests and no people. Like,
Is that really what it was? It was like it was a much bigger world, but nothing there.
yeah, there was a whole lot of nothing in a game like Daggerfall. So I don't know. I mean, yes, some games as they go on get more casual than their previous counterparts, and that's sad. But I don't know. I mean, it's progress. There are some games that stay just as hardcore. That's a really broad and wide open question.
Okay. And looks like our last question for this CU podcast. This is from at Retro Nobad 1988. Ian, a lot of questions here. What is by far the oddest thing you've ever seen come into the store / oddest transaction?
I come in once with what appeared to be urine-soaked pants and asked if we shot porn in the back, and I had to shoo him out of the store. That was within the first 6 months of me working at Luna.
If you shopped porn?
If we shot porn in the back.
Oh, if you shot porn.
It was just, I mean, dude, I get drunks all the time. That's the thing. Like, I mean, I've worked at Luna Video Games for 7 years.
Wait, did you say yes or no? You didn't say.
I told him no, and then I told him to get the fuck out. I've worked there for 7 years. You work in any place for 7 years, you're gonna have weird stories. You work any place in Ocean Beach or La Mesa in San Diego, you're gonna have really weird stories. Okay, no, here you go. Weirdest thing that ever happened to me. Pulled into work at La Mesa one morning, flipped on the lights, went to go unlock the door, pulled back the curtain. There is a man in shorts and nothing else, handcuffed against the wall, and there are bags of pills and other various substances on the ground, and the police were arresting a man on my door. And he kept yelling that he just wanted to play the arcade games.
Aww.
We called him DuPont because he used to wear he would wear a DuPont racing jacket, and if you're listening to this podcast, you can't see it, but he would wear it like this. It was elasticy at the bottom, and there would be nothing. There would be nothing. He would no
zipped
shirt,
up quarterway, no shirt, but
quarterway zipped up, and he would reach in and pull things out of the jacket like it was one big pocket. And yeah, he got arrested. He got arrested on my door one morning.
He had a magic jacket.
Yeah, and I was working with an employee who had only been there like a week or two, and I'm like, so welcome, welcome to Luna Video Games.
All right, well, that's the last question. So to recap, I'm going through submissions for the Punk Effect. Hopefully everyone hears back by next week. At that point, I have to redo the site in November. I will redo the website. The whole marathon thing, I always take for granted how much time that the NX Marathon takes out of me. Not that it's not worth it, but it's just, literally, it's like 3 weeks.